Hello.
Oh.
Right, there we go. Carefree, fancy free. Thank you very much indeed for coming for tonight's potentially long meeting of the Town Council. Hopefully we'll get through things speedily and efficiently. 2454, apology for absence.
Had apologies from Councillor Wade, Councillor Gordon and Councillor Arnold.
Lovely. We're all okay to accept those. They're away. Thank you very much indeed. 2455, declarations of interest, disclosable pecuniary interests, other interests, request for dispensation, gifts or hospitality over £50, and any inappropriate gifts or hospitality. Anyone? No, nothing exciting. 2456, minutes of the previous meeting to approve and sign minutes of the full council meeting held on the 16th of July. It's an accurate record. I was not there. I watched some of it, but I wasn't here, so I can't judge. Is everyone okay with what was said? Lovely. Is anyone willing to propose? Jerry's proposing. Paul's seconding. Are we all okay to vote? I vote for you. It was good on the video. Thank you very much indeed. You all look very good on the video, by the way. Thank you. The lighting is good.
Is it?
I don't know. Thank you very much indeed. Public participation from interested parties. Consideration of requests from interested parties. Page 1 gone already. Northern Council. No. Nothing from them. I did see Councillor Harrison back in town on the bus photograph thing. So hopefully she'll be back around, and Jason has come to help us a bit in the last couple of weeks, so that's very good. I'll refer to those quickly in the Mayor's report. Town Matters, 246001, to consider response to email regarding lack of streetlights at Danfords Close, the Green Next Step. This is from Barry Beatty saying they're not our lights. They say that Longhurst Housing Association are responsible for them, as I understand. It strikes me we should probably arrange to contact Longhurst and ask them to do something.
Yeah, my understanding is that the lights have been turned off on a street light in West Street, but it's the Longhurst that have to reconnect, kind of put the request in, and presumably there's a debate on.
So I don't think we have any involvement, but maybe we could be a catalyst that helps bring people together on this. So I would propose that we write to Longhurst and ask them to arrange a meeting that we attend and try and talk citizens. But everyone's okay with that?
Yeah, just keep the conversation.
Thank you very much. And if I'm available, I'm more than happy to go and meet them. If not, someone else will volunteer to go and meet them. But I think it's probably giving we can do. Lovely. 246002, a collision report, the A605 from Councillor Smithers. We asked for this back in June, we promised it, it's here. I think since we were
I did, just as a matter of interest, I saw somebody walking, you know, when you come out around, it is a dangerous road, and I reported it to the police, because he was walking on the left-hand side, so you only go to Peterborough, the roundabout, and went by the wharf. It was the left-hand side. You know,
brave.
Can't see him.
whereas the pass on the right-hand side,
Yeah.
and he got his license. He did get walked.
In fact, actually, if A605 happened to be a central government higher trunk road and not a local authority road, it would have to be dual because of the volume of traffic. In accordance with the Department of Transport's rules for its own roads, according to highway link design standards. Councillor Smithers' report is conscientious, but as I've heard them all say, we know there's a problem. So I think it'd be no bad thing if you were perhaps to write over your signature to Councillor Smithers, pointing out the fact that if it were a central government road, it would have to be dual. So to put the ball squarely into his court and see what he says to that. The answer may probably be you as look, we're the local highway authority, NNC, we have to spread what we have as best we can, we just have to keep the situation in view. At least,
Unreasonable or unrealistic, but I wonder whether we could lobby for more restrictions on it. So you might make the stretch that we're talking about, 40-mile-hour limit, and maybe even limit it to under 7.5 ton vehicles. I don't know whether that. I guess not, because it's, as you say, it's a major lorry, isn't it?
I meant, I think most of that time I counted in the 10-minute block where I was stationary around 60 vehicle lorries are over 7.5 ton. That's where I think we need to, I'm in full agreement around speed limits. And I think the best thing we can hope for is similar to what starts at Elton and goes to Hannibal. Although there's still a collision on that bit. We push for cameras,
Average speed,
average speed.
Reading the report, there is going to be a study done on that from January to March. So perhaps we can ask them to have an actual consultation after that.
So do I get the feeling that I should reply to Jason and say, can you keep us in touch with that? And maybe we could have talks with you doing the study. Okay, yeah, happy to do that. 246003 to consider a request from National Grid to install a new electric substation in England Way. I noticed it was more about we're going to replace. But I actually went down there to look at the old one, and I don't think there is one. It's just the machinery behind the fence. So I think it might need a cover in some way, shape or form. So we don't need to approve or decide that. Just covering the electrics in rather than not. 246101 to receive the mayor's report. I won't go through all of it, but just to go through a couple of highlights. From the July meeting, there was a request to have the text about the cash review, which I've put in there. Link's basic view is they don't share sensitive information with people, and that's it. I know Lee Barron is interested in the ATM situation, and also I suppose that's something that we need to keep aware of, but at the moment, there's no view from them that we need to have an ATM or active bank because we already have one with lots of places don't. I referenced the damage done by construction traffic around the town in June, July and August. Communications with Lee Barron showing around the town. I sort of thought, would it be a good idea for me to share the mayor's report with him each month so he can see what we're talking about? And maybe the same to NNC councillors as well. Had a very exciting conversation with some men in a gully truck in August. They were cleaning out all the drains in town. I don't think they've done the ones on Platform Road facing this way, but they over a cup of tea, they added up how many gullies there are in Amber, 1,421 in the parish. Clean them, jet wash them, take photos, etc. So, and they said no one ever mentions them. So I said I'd mention them. They might be watching, I don't know. But yeah, I thank them on our behalf and ask them to come around more. NNC, the question comes again and again, how do we improve links and liaison with them? This has been interesting, some of you know on Benfield Road there's a house that's been flooded, and a resident there has asked me to intervene with Jason, and to his credit, he's now coming out in October to look at it. But at one point I was told by NNC that they couldn't talk to me about it due to GDPR. Which is, I was copied into all the emails from the resident to him. It seemed a bit weird. And I think our relationship with them, it works both ways, and there's an interesting NCAP feedback about how I think it's 1% of the town and parishes in North Northampton think their relationship with North Northampton is positive. So we can work, but they can work as well. And I'd like to hear your views later on about whether we all know about the Rose of Northamptonshire or not. I had a conversation about that last week. Tiger Pass, had a conversation yesterday with the Mayor of Peterborough about unexpected consequences of new bus services in Peterborough, which is brilliant, but because we're outside Cambridgeshire, people who go to Peterborough College fall foul of those and end up paying nearly 3 times what they used to pay last year to get to college. Hopefully we can put Peterborough and NNC in contact and be a catalyst there. And the last 2 things, open days at Prince William School. I spent quite a bit of time this holiday going down and talking to them, and they're really open to showing us what they do. So it'd be a good chance to pop into some of the open days maybe. and then also notes on Remembering Sunday. So that's there, read it when you're bored some other time. 246102, the clerk's report. Emma, anything?
No, the only thing is I did have a meeting with NNC, Paul Home Warden, just to discuss, parcel of land next to the library. Yeah, just about there. I think the lease runs out next December, and he's just interested to see whether we want to continue with the lease. At this moment in time, there's no talk as to whether they want to transfer a piece of land to us. I did mention it, and he said he would take that back, not to say yes we want to buy it, but just to see if there was an option. But I said that we haven't done anything with it at the moment, but you know, potentially there are plans, what we might do with it, turn it into a sensory garden or something.
So for those of you who don't know, there's a little bit of land just outside that door and down, which is sort of just on its own. And it was talked about in the States a couple of weeks ago, so I suppose it's into that. When you say next December, do you mean December 25?
Yes.
Right. Cool, thank you very much indeed. 246103, to receive the transfer document for the complete transfer of Fletton Field. Great news. Thank you to everyone involved, Fletton Field Association and everyone else. So there's no doubt, and everyone who made it roll over. I had the joy of being interviewed on Radio Northamptonshire, sitting on the field in the rain a few weeks ago, which is quite exciting. It's great news. I wrote down that something we need to do is to arrange and decide how we want to have a formal opening, which was discussed at States 2 weeks ago, and getting as many big wigs into Oundle as we can to show Oundle off as much as anything. And I also see on the notes we have here that the Fletton Field Association is suggesting something on the 29th of September or 6th of October as an event in the morning, a Sunday morning to have a get together.
Yeah, that would, I mean, the Fletton Field proposal was just very, very, very key.
Yeah.
Those of us, most of you in the room, plus the FFA, plus maybe OBA representatives, just to get together and shake hands and talk, celebrate. We also met, Fletton Field Association and the subset of the Estates Committee met yesterday and talked about how we might celebrate it. And we were thinking about linking it with a entrance arch competition with the junior school, designing that and launching it in spring or summer next year with a much more, as you say, local big hits and popular and of course the local population as well, with local residents and actually with their honest, I think that was what we basically talked about, wasn't it?
Well, the other thing that came up in the meeting yesterday is the agreement between OTC and FFA. It was at the last meeting, but I wasn't at the last meeting, and the minutes are a little ambiguous as to whether it was just received or approved. And we don't know whether it's actually been approved.
It was only received here, so at that moment in time, it's only a draft document that I received. It wasn't final, because I think in the email from Tony, there was still a few changes that needed to be made. But from what I gathered from Lisa, that's been finalised yesterday. So it'll go on the October forecast.
It wasn't finalised yesterday, it was finalised quite a while ago.
But anyway, we did also say at the meeting,
So-
there's no hurry for it.
So should we bring it back to here to be approved in the future
Yeah.
meeting?
Yeah, and that's what Lisa told me yesterday.
Okay.
That's fine.
Just a quick question. The States can't approve it, we need to come back in.
I think for something like Fletton Field, I think it should be the full council.
Yeah, absolutely fine. Lovely, thank you very much indeed. 246104, to receive the Market Working Party report. This is a draft work in progress. Thank you everyone that was on the market in August. I think it did us quite a lot of good in terms of being seen and talking to people. Rob, who's on here tonight, obviously has got a data collection thing going. There's 60 or 70 people have replied with reviews both why they do and don't use the market. And I think the idea is we keep in contact with market holders over the next month or two until we come up with something more formal. Lots of things have been suggested. Some form of electricity supply is still a big thing. Cheesegate comes around most weeks when I talk to someone about anything. There's all sorts of suggestions about tapping into other supplies and the school supply, etc. I even said to a couple of shop owners who are very keen, well, can we use your electricity? No. But I think it's a thing we probably do need to broach at some point and deal with. If only to increase the number of food supplies, food market stalls, and also, you know, the ones that use generators create quite a lot of noise and probably quite a lot of pollution. So it's something we do need to do. But let's see what all the survey data and information says and see if there's an easy way forward. There's been talk about a payment holiday for some of the market traders as to we offer them something while we're coming to fruition. It's a bit of a contentious suggestion, but I'm just mentioning it tonight so that you know that's where we're going. And the idea is to do some easy wins quite quickly, maybe do some other wins quite quickly after that, and then the ones that are going to cost us a bit more, maybe do in the next 6 to 12 months. But I think it's positive, and it's been good to be seen and to keep being seen. So again, thank you to everyone involved in that. 246105, sorry Dave, I was going to move this up and I forgot.
So is actually anything being proposed from this document?
Not yet.
Not yet, so we just wait.
At the moment, we're waiting for some data, primarily as to why people don't go to the market.
Right, because it wasn't clear to me, because there seems to be a kind of ad hoc set of proposals, so we're not looking at those tonight.
They're just drafts, they just receive the draft.
All right, that's fine, I just wasn't.
That's fine. No, so we're not approving anything tonight. David, sorry, you'll be.
I'll try and be brief. This was I was given about 5 days' notice that in August the 20th, I was asked to attend a meeting with the new who's the Police and Crime Commissioner, who's Danielle Still. Sorry, Danielle Still. That was through IPC, Declan Morgan. So that we got my email sent to all of you. If you've got any issues, tell me. And I'm sorry about the short notice, but that's about as much notice as I had. However, it's rather good to do because it's the first time we've ever been approached by a police commissioner in the time that they've been around. But I wasn't expecting, it was in the police station, so I thought I'll put on which I deserted the police station, and I'll probably be in one of the rooms that's dust everywhere. In fact, that is a working police station now. I didn't know that. And even though it looks like it's not from the outside, it is from the inside. And I actually met Danielle Stone, I met her deputy, I met the assistant chief constable, there's 3 of them, but Alan Ward, and then PC Deck and our PCSO Arthur. So it was a bigger meeting than I thought. I just thought it was going to chat. Effectively, but they gave me time to talk about the issues that Alan would make. And you can read about the points there. But the main point to come out of this is that I like Danielle. And she understands that for a rural town like this, and there's others in the county, our issue, the crime, our crime doesn't register on the Richter scale. If you compare it to places like Corby, Kettering. But the issue is, we went through a period of about 10 years when they cut all the police, 20,000 police, whatever it was, and we didn't have police presence. And one of the reasons why there's no ATMs in the town is potentially because the thieves could know they could go to an ATM, nick it, and by the time the police came from Corby, they were well gone. I did mention that. So there's a number of the key points to make. She understands that we want to feel safe, and that's a police presence. There was even talk about possibly opening up the police station to public. It's not open to public, but PC Deck, or Deck as he likes to be known, has said, if you have an issue, knock on the window. And if he's there, we'll come and see you. We're not supposed to do that, but that's what they do. There is some modern technology coming in about it, where they'll be able to contact the police directly from your phone, and you'll be through to a police person. They could do that from the door in the front. So I did talk them around. I said, look at this, it's cobwebs. just needs a bit of sprucing up to make it look like an active police station, because that's what it is. And it hasn't been for a long time. So this is all the issues. She got it, she understands it, and hopefully, I don't know if you've seen more police around, but there is a lot more police cars I see. And what was really entertaining was we went into town with 3 police men, and I think the town got a bit of a shock, including one with lots of silver on it. So that was what went to town, because we could walk all the way down with that. But the report's there, we got a chance to say our piece. She's only seen towns and obviously the major places, but the point, we were on the map, and that's the key message to come back from that. Good meeting.
Excellent, thank you, David, for doing that, and, certainly a lot of people are talking about that crime at the moment, so yeah. It's
And there's going to be communications, going to keep saying, you're telling us what's going on, like this, but we really want to know is what's the overall picture, rather than, and some good news rather than the bad news, because that makes my wife is terrified, that she reports every single crime that comes up in the neighbourhood thing. And that's obviously negative.
So I got a neighbour who watched reports this morning by email telling me there's going to be a crime tomorrow in Essington. We've also got the data on it. So the crime's going to happen between 6 p.m. and nearly 18th way on the 19th. Pre-crime. Yeah. So thank you very much. And again, the better our liaison with DEC and everyone else, the better. 246106 to receive the August employment law newsletter, which I presume we've all received. 246107 to approve a welcome letter to be sent to the new residents of Constock Meadows. There's now, I suppose, maybe 100 houses in there that are available. It came out of a conversation with people on the market, saying how people know about the market if they just moved around. Fair enough. So I've drafted something. It's been around the comms group a couple of times. I've got some free time on Saturday, so I'm happy to go and deliver it to all the houses on Constock Meadow if people are happy with the text. The idea really is to point people towards our website, Love Oundle, tell them what's around, and also show the differences of what we don't do and what NNC do. So any thoughts on what's there or what's written?
I think it's an excellent idea. And I think what you've written is fine. It just gives them basic information that we come over as being a friendly council. And who's people to contact. I just think that's perfect.
Anyone contrary, John?
Yeah, I think it's excellent as well. It's not quite there, it's a draft, isn't it? There's a few bits tidying up to do, but it looks fine.
That's fine, we'll tidy it up and get it printed. Yeah.
I was going to say, do you want it on heavy paper?
Yes.
And are you going to sign it at the bottom?
I've signed my bit. John signed his bit. I'll sign it for him.
So shall I, are you going to sign one that I print out, or will I be able to use that signature on this
Use
one?
that one there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll check through the end of that.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. To approve the Human Resources Committee meeting terms of reference, 246108. I think the only change was something we changed last week about quorum level.
Yes, we just changed the wording, because I think it was out of sync with all.
So it's moving towards 3 people.
Yeah.
Quorum. So, unless anyone, do you have any problems with anything there? I'm happy to propose that we approve them. David got the just to second them, all willing to approve those. Thank you very much indeed. 246201, to approve the monthly accounts. We've now got our sort of day-to-day account, our instant access savings account, and then our investment account, which seems to be growing pleasantly. Any questions or queries on any of them? No, lovely. There was, Councillor Wade raised a question about electricity at the courthouse, which we dug into. I've even got a snapshot of today's meter reading. It looks like we're back on more of an even keel at the moment, which is good. A bit more than we budgeted for, but a lot better than it was. So that's good to see. I'm happy to propose that we approve the monthly accounts. If anyone's willing to second them. These have got there first. Everyone else willing to vote? Thank you very much indeed. Payments for July and August. So the proposition is the schedule of payments for July 2024 is retrospectively approved, and the August 24 payments as presented at this item are paid up. Any questions or queries on any of the payments? No, again, I'm happy to propose it. David got in there as a seconder. Are we all okay to vote on that? We're getting sleep deprived. Thank you very much indeed. 246203 to consider a quote to upgrade the lighting in the courthouse. Given how much electricity we use in the courthouse, that might be a good idea. It's roughly £14,000, give or take. This came out of a staff from the museum looking to improve the lighting. I think this body a couple of months ago said, let's get a quote for the whole thing. It's the same technology, I think, as the stuff in QVH, microwave sensors, LED, etc. It should reduce our electricity considerably, but it's still £14,000. The R&M for the courthouse is £12,000. We've already spent £3,500, so it's effectively digging into the reserve again. Any questions, Joe?
Have we got any sort of rough estimate at all about what might save us in energy usage?
Good question, I don't think so.
No, this is just a quote. I mean, I know when we did
We
the
haven't
large
got the
quote for
QVH.
QVH, we did have that information, but we didn't. This is basically something just going around and just to give us a quote.
It's a shame, I don't know.
I mean, the only thing I will say is at the moment the corridors are on lights, which is where you have to turn them off. And that's the problem because
No, no, that's cool.
there's so many different people in the building, they never assume that they're the last person in there.
And
So,
they're the old fashioned sort of traditional
Yeah.
fluorescent types.
And the Jones toilets are never turned off, they're
Yeah.
on continually.
I mean, it's unfortunate we haven't got a bit more evidence to support it, but you would normally expect replacing that sort of technology with LEDs to give you a 3 or 4 year payback. So you'd expect that it would be a good investment.
yeah.
But that's obviously that's based on my knowledge as an electrical engineer, but without any understanding
Yeah.
exactly what's there at the moment. So it's not, it's not.
I mean, it is old lighting, I mean, museum lighting is
Yeah, I did a quick survey, a quick summary earlier. Look, I reckon we're going to spend about 13,500 a year on electricity at the courthouse. Judging by the readings for the last 2.5 months, but then we don't know how much of that's like and how much isn't, so it's hard to know. Just any other questions from anyone?
I'm going to ask the same question again. Do we have any other quotes?
No, because we use that as for lighting.
I still think as an organisation.
We have done it in
should
the
have
past.
a comparison.
Yeah, Lisa has done that with the states in the past, and staff they know our buildings. This is the thing, because they do all of our repair work, they know where everything is, so they're already coming cheaper because they're not brand new to the building.
But if we were audited, would we have to show that we have comparative?
But I think it went through a state some time ago, and that's when Lisa did get other quotes, and I think that's when it was agreed that Sadler's was our preferred.
Okay. So my second question is, do we have something on the lease that will stop people plugging in electric heaters because they're cold and the heating system's not good? Do we have something written?
No, because we actually give them heaters if they're cold, because it can be a cold building.
And the lease is pretty old-fashioned, so that's
But
what
there are better
we
electric
tweak in the
heaters than
future.
old
But we
ones.
can't tweak your old leases, can we?
Just for information, when we did the estates tour, including the courthouse, we talked about the need to review the lease situation for exactly these kinds of reasons and other reasons.
Absolutely. I was going to ask one question. I may have missed it, but is the museum covered in this quote?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, museum, because their quote for the museum and the corridor, that foyer bit outside was 10,000 from who they went to, Trading.
Right.
Sadler's have come in 14,000 for the whole building.
I mean, I think it's got to be in the right direction, isn't it? That we do this work.
I'm happy to go for it, because it needs to be done. And, I mean, our experts have suggested that there will be a saving over a period of time.
You definitely save money.
Are you willing to sign an affidavit?
No, of course not. No, but I just know, a traditional LED, fluorescent strip light is 60 watts.
Yeah.
You're replacing with 3 or 4 watts.
Yeah.
So it's a massive reduction. So if they're on 24/7, you'll make the money back no time. And probably some of them are, because no one ever turns them on.
So Are we listening to the money methods and propose that we accept this?
I think we should.
I'm happy to second. David seconded, so we're going to go to a vote. Are we okay now to spend this money? Lovely.
So, did you propose it?
Let's propose it.
Did you want to say that you, obviously, this is going to take us over our own budget, so for the remainder, you'll be taking the money out of the budget?
Do we need to vote on that separately?
I add that into the same,
Yeah.
into the
I think that's
same
essential.
budget, that would be fine.
Save money on something else, somewhere. 246204 to receive a quarterly verification checklist for quarter one. The only thing I can see on it was to add Unity and CCLA to the checklist, which I presume is being actioned. So thank you, Jerry, for doing that. Any questions or queries, Devin? No, lovely. To 246205 to approve the quote for the snow machine at the town centre during the Christmas market. I'm going to go Grinchy here if I'm not careful. So, is anyone, did we ask for this?
It was just an idea, I think somebody had seen it elsewhere, I've seen it somewhere else, and it seems that.
Is anyone a big fan of snow machines? 2,500.
Only if we can get somebody else to pay for it. And that isn't an entirely flippant remark. I mean, if there was some commercial entity that wanted to put money into this thing in return for publicity, fine. But we spend an awful lot of money on our Christmas lights anyway, and I think telling the public we're spending an extra £2,000 on a snow machine, even if my grandchildren might think it's wonderful, is probably going a bit too far.
Derek?
So, yeah, they wanted it.
We'll go back to it. Liz?
How long does that last for?
I think it's for the duration of the market, so I think it's on between 10.
Really that's a lot of snow.
Seems a bit paradoxical to have snow machines taking all the snow away when we've got reindeer.
All I was going to say is that I've had experience with a snow machine. I'm sure it wasn't as lovely as this one. And it made an awful lot of disgusting slippy snow, which slipped over on paper. So
Is it producing real snow?
oh, I don't know. The video is lovely. It looks great. I don't know what it's like. It's a bit slippery at the end. There's a solution.
It's soapy bubbles, isn't it? It's not,
Yeah.
it's not frozen water. It's soapy
Right.
bubbles.
Yeah, exactly. That's just what I was.
Does anyone want to propose?
Get sued.
I was going to do it.
We'll move on then.
Don't know, if it snows in real life, we'll have to cancel anyway.
I want to save you more money. So Grinch was.
Okay, that's fine, I'll leave that in.
246206 to receive a completed AGAR for the year end 31st of March 2024. And note there are no other matters to discuss, so we've done everything we need to do. We've got a clean bill of health, so that's very good news. Thank you very much indeed. 246207 to receive the minutes from the Finance and General Purposes Committee last week. I think the only significant issues are spending our Section 106 money this year to make sure we don't take it away. And we discussed supporting Howell Primary School and volunteer action in some way, shape or form on top of the grant funding requests we had. Any questions or queries about the minutes of the meeting? No? Lovely.
Sorry, could I just go back to the AGAR? Did you mention that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said no other matters to discuss. Is that right?
That's okay,
Do we need
yeah,
to
that's
end the
fine.
video now?
No, that's fine, I just didn't hear it.
I did, honestly. You were small but snow, weren't you?
That's really nice.
246208 to approve the quote for medical cover at Christmas market, which may not be as necessary without slippery snow. For those of you who are at the Business Association meeting, you'll know that first responders in town are now limited to the event they can cover. Anything that's got over 500 people, which hopefully we will have, anything that lasts more than 4 hours, we will. 400 people, it's getting smaller every day. And anything that has alcohol involved, they cannot damage. Now, they can be there gathering money, they can help if someone did fall over on snow, but they can't be our protection, effectively, that we can't put on the form. So in effect, it's our problem, not their problem. We've got a quote here from a group who, by chance, I found at Rutland Water a couple of weeks ago. They've been really impressive. Again, it's not a recommendation, but I know the school are now talking to them as well. The quote was better than I expected. And the idea of having an ambulance in the centre of town with 2 paramedics doing a bit of CPR training and letting kids run over the thing, it seems like a good deal and a good thing to have. And if they're good, hopefully we can keep them on side and keep them coming back. So, are there any questions or queries on that? I'm happy to propose that we approve the quote
Can
then.
I just point out, sorry, I know it's 666, but we often normally make a donation to first responders anyway, which presumably we won't be making, so it's not necessarily as much as
That's
it
a very
seems.
good point. Very good point. Well, I approve it even more.
Yeah,
It's a second even more. Are we all going to vote even more on that? Lovely. Thank you very much indeed. Highways Matters 246301, the speed indicator device. It's up the top of the road there. I was quite surprised on my joy of graphing it every month, how low the average speed was, but then how high some of the higher speeds were. So it's those occasional drivers that come through at that speed that are an issue. It could well be the police. I saw one go through town at some place.
Really?
Yeah. And the good news is the second one that we got from Councillor Harrison's fund is in the building somewhere.
Oh,
So hopefully we'll have a second one up. Does anyone, do we want it somewhere in particular?
well, we've got our licensed areas,
Do we
so.
want to hit one that we haven't had for a while?
Well, can I ask, because I walked down Run the Meadow and along the Barnwell Road into the park,
Yeah.
and that road is shocking. Somebody went by me yesterday, it must have been 50, 60 upwards, just in the 30.
Outside Amblin.
Is it over the bridge, just over the
Yeah.
bridge there?
Can I just say,
Shocking.
Declan, Rebecca sent the report,
Yeah.
to the police, and he came back and said he'd done a speed check on Barnwell Road, and he'd also done on Bennefield Road, and had issued tickets. to quite a
You should
few.
get tickets on the south, on that one, the barn, not the barn one, and the barn road, he gave lots of tickets to them.
So let's spin a device and put the second one somewhere as soon as we
Yeah.
can. But it's good to see it, and again, it's nice to feed that information on to the police so
Yeah.
they can do something. And I know Arthur and Decca are happy to respond.
Just a thought, but, could we ask Farnwell Parish whether they would like us to position one of our
That's a very good idea.
signs there?
I think that road is the one that.
It is.
Because it is, you know, it is, yeah, I mean, I drive at 30 and I've always got people, you know,
Yeah, well, that's
asking me to go past there.
And the pavement is really overgrown, so people.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I love the road.
If we were going to offer Barnwell to borrow one of ours for a month or two, would they need to get approval for a site?
Yeah, they would have to get a license.
Oh, yeah, you have to do all that, yeah.
So should we just open informal communications with Barnwell and see it?
Yeah.
You see, then we could offer
We've got good relations with them,
to
now,
other
buses, but
parts,
buses is not
like
right. Right, lovely, thank you very much. 246401, receive the minutes from the planning committee meeting on the 27th of August 2024. Anyone have any questions or queries for David about that? David, do you want to say anything at all?
Well, the strange thing about the meeting was there were only 2 planning applications, which didn't take us very long. And then you'll notice quite a long section that follows the planning applications, all of which then follow into this meeting because we were recommending one thing after another come to full council. Which is probably as good a point to move on to the next point. In one of my sadder moments, I decided to look at when the documentation in respect to the Amsel Conservation Area had last been reviewed. We discovered that it never had been since it was prepared in 2009, despite the fact that all the documentation says it should be done essentially every 5 years. So it should have already been reviewed probably 3 times by now, and certainly at least twice. So following some discussion, we thought it appropriate to do a letter to NMC Planning, pointing out the fact it didn't appear to have been reviewed. As it said, if you have reviewed it, you certainly haven't told us, and we can't find any documentation anywhere on their website or anywhere else to suggest it's been looked at. And essentially to say, well, look, we would like to talk to you about that, and in effect engage on behalf of the local population. It may well be that a decision is ultimately taken, but there are no need to make any significant changes to the document. Although, for example, the former primary school mentioned there is a building of some significance. It's not listed, but it was referred to as being a building of some significance within the conservation area. Well, of course, it's going to be demolished pursuant to a planning application for the environmental school. So there's one little thing, and one of the other things backwards and forwards once or twice in discussing this was the situation with Fletton Field, which would be outside the conservation area. We may well take a view that it should stay outside, or we might take a view that it should be inside the conservation area. And maybe they would have some views on it. So there's a recommendation from the planning committee is that we do write to NMC and see if we can get them to react to this and move it on.
So 246402 is to approve the draft letter, which is just simply saying to NMC, let's talk, let's review. Strikes me the only thing we have to do is to thank David and the planning committee for doing that, and does anyone have any reason to think we shouldn't? Does anyone want to propose that we do? David's proposed, who's going to second David, and again, he's on a roll tonight, lovely, thank you very much indeed. 246403 to approve a letter to be sent to us.
Do you want me to get that put onto the,
Yeah.
head of paper?
Yes,
And send it on?
Yeah.
So to approve a letter to be sent to Lee Barron regarding our neighbourhood plan views, same sort of thing, there's a letter.
It's very similar. I had tried to get NMC to respond to me. This was so long ago that it was pre-election, and essentially couldn't. Went to Helen Harrison, she gave me a name, I contacted the name, nothing happened. I contacted Helen Harrison, she put it to David Brackenbury. David Brackenbury said he'd try and get somebody to deal with it. I still heard nothing. During that period of time, we had a general election, change of government, and as we were about to discover planning reform on the horizon. But we've been talking both in planning and in here about, well, maybe we should look again at having a neighbourhood plan, because at the moment we have a local plan that lasts till 2031, where the entire allocation for residential development has already got planning permission. Two of the sites are under development already, and trying to get something in place to try and steer where it is looks potentially like a good idea. So there was a conversation with Mr. Barron the other day. He indicated that the government was in favour of neighbourhood plans and was talking to another council about getting theirs, excuse me, potentially reviewed. So it struck me that perhaps if we wrote to him and suggested that he acted as a sort of middleman between ourselves and NMC, we might actually make some progress. It might be quite useful to have him on board. So that was the plan.
I think the idea seems decent. The only thing I also Lee, I think, is of the opinion that the House will sit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning. I would expect to be more available for events in the constituency Thursday evening or Friday, or maybe Saturday. So on that basis, I think we're inviting him to a planning committee meeting on Tuesday. I suspect we'll probably say we can't come. Whether we then also add or at a time. every meeting?
Yes, because we can always have either a subcommittee of the planning committee or extraordinary meeting of the planning committee, or it could be just a meeting between Mr. Barron, myself perhaps, and somebody from NNC. So yes, I'm quite happy that we make it a little bit more flexible, so to speak.
Any, Rupert?
I'm entirely support that approach, that's essential. Lee Barron, one new MP, is concerned to be helpful for all sorts of reasons, if only that he's now our MP. And also, he's sensibly being a good union man, he's looking several years ahead, and hoping to be re-elected in due course, come the next election, whatever it may be. I have the impression that although NNC continues to be a Conservative controlled council, because there's been change of central government, given the virtual non-reaction that Councillor Chapman has had from NNC, although he's gone in at all normal points, I have the impression that the top hierarchy of officers at NNC are waiting on events and waiting to see what central government do in terms of brilliantly declared wishes to expand housing supply, build on the grey belt, etc., etc. So, our new MP, being a good union man by origin, is very concerned to speak up for his membership and mediate. That would be a splendid start. So, I fully support Dave's proposal that he and such others goes to David to invite. It invites Lee Barron for initial talks.
Lovely. Do we need to vote on this? It says approved, so do we need to, or can we just nod and murmur?
Well, you can, if you want to be.
Is everyone happy with the idea of getting Lee on side?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you want me to tweak it?
Oh, so did you want to tweak it about flexibility?
Yeah.
I'll
Tweak it,
send
send it to you,
that.
and you can put it on the
So 246404, again, a long document, very grateful to David for working on this, the consultation on proposed reforms to the National Planning Policy Framework. Strikes me it's been discussed at planning a few times. Unless we have any specific questions on specific points, we're probably best.
If I just mention that, the minutes of the planning meeting suggested that this would be a sort of a joint effort between myself, Councillor Shearer and Councillor Clark. Unfortunately, due to commitments of Councillor Shearer and Clark and the timing of my own holiday, for better or worse, this is all my own work because it just wasn't possible for the three of us to do anything. The actual detail of it has not been discussed in any way in planning. Essentially, we agreed that somebody, namely me, should go through it, so I did. And I put together some things here with possible responses on to various questions, not all 106 of them. Some of them are incredibly technical and probably have very little relevance to what I'm doing and so on. But I've tried to sort of go through the ones that perhaps are the ones we might most likely want to respond to. And right at the end, I've highlighted that there are some things where we don't ask you questions, but if they're looking at planning reform, it would be quite nice to raise these issues that it might require a degree of ingenuity to figure out how you're supposed to be answering one of the 106 questions, how you fit in something that doesn't relate to any of the 106, but that will be beyond the use of mine.
Yeah, Councillor Chapman is absolutely right. From planning, we were meant to be having a meeting to go through this, but it proved impossible to get that meeting together, so we should thank David for putting this document together. I have looked at it earlier today, and I'm more than happy to second what David is proposing.
No, I thought that
We don't vote, we want to support it, post it. Are we all okay with the broad principle of approving this?
If I liaise with Lisa, because this has to go in by next Tuesday.
Isn't it?
So in theory, it could go in after the next planning meeting, except that I realised I'm actually on holiday next week, unless the flooding problem gets much worse, in which case I might not be going anyway. That's what I'm supposed to do. But I'll liaise with Lisa and we'll try and make sure we get something.
Lovely. David, thank you very much indeed. 2465 estates, 246501 minutes of report from the estates committee meeting. Max, do you want to say anything at all on this?
I don't wish to highlight anything really, no.
It's all pretty much self-explanatory. We're doing the grand tour, and we'll come back on that in October in our future budgets. 246501 to consider a report for work on trees. This is something that came out of various discussions with the business association, and in June we got Keir to come out and look at the trees in the marketplace. The good news is we'll keep in touch with Keir. They've got some other ideas about a more permeable system of putting something around the tree to get rid of the tarmac, and that will give trees more water and of course then less repairs and be less open. So I think they're trialling it quite soon and we can keep an eye on that. 246503 to consider a report to install 8 EV charging points at Flatton House. As you know, we've been dabbling this for a couple of years with no great success. Companies keep coming and going bust again. The company involved here, Nest, is a company that's been recommended to us by Transition Animal, and they are as local as you can get almost in Peterborough. They came along, had a look at it in August, and we presented their paper to the estates group. Their solution is if you're making a hole in a car park, you might as well make a long hole. And rather than putting in one charging point, they suggested putting in 4, which would have 2 plugs on each.
Yeah.
So there'd be 8 spaces available. But they'd be free to install. We would get back any energy usage. And we would make a small profit on top of that as well. There wouldn't need to be marked off as EV bays, there would just be parking spaces that had EV charging points. And it would increase the number of publicly accessible EV charging points now from 0 to 8. Some questions were raised, we've gone back and put a sort of discussion document with their answers on, and then Jerry's raised another question, which I didn't understand. But I've gone back and given it to them, and they went, oh, and they were going to give us an answer by tonight, but I haven't got that yet. So we're considering it. For my money, it's a great idea, but we probably need the information to formally decide it.
It's a rather a lot.
I think it probably is. Their point is,
The size of our car park.
their point is, if you're digging a trench down there, if you then say, let's have another one in 5 years' time, you're going to need to dig it up again. So it's better to have the prime market would be for people who've not got spaces they can charge their cars in. So primarily Rock Road, St Peter's Road, etc. We're quite central. Visitors, my thought is most people will be parking their cars overnight to charge slowly.
And also for people who are coming visiting, so and I've lent my charger to a neighbour whose son was visiting and didn't want to charge his car.
Yeah.
So there's that opportunity as well.
And we can easily just have a sign saying Thames that way, etc. Thanks.
I'm fully in favour of having charging points. I think it would be good for the council to be seen to be providing a facility like that. I'm slightly concerned about both the number outside here, where there's relatively limited space anyway. And also I'm not quite sure about how it will be managed, because as I understand it in the document, it's a bit of a mix and match, i.e. the proposal isn't to have it, so if you go to most supermarkets, the charging points are literally only for charging. Whereas I think the proposal is to have a mix and match where anybody can
Parking
park
and
there.
charging.
And I could see that might create some
Mm.
problems.
Yeah,
It will.
well, we discussed it on stage.
I think you need some signage that says, if other bays are available, please do not obstruct the EV bay. But if nothing else available, then they're available for any class parking. I think that would deal with it.
Because we're going to be talking probably 1 or 2 visitors every few days or week that will want to charge there. So I don't think there'll be a lot of problem consultation early on.
Today, the car parks ran, with people using this building, so there wasn't any spaces.
But that's like, the
But if you're gonna have that on quite a few days.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to be empty, and that's why people want to plug in overnight.
when you drive an EV, you've got EV drivers here, you often turn up and you can't charge because someone's in the bay and you just doesn't wait.
Charging.
So it's gonna be used for people overnight.
Primarily.
I think that would be good.
That's the prime use, because at the moment, you have a house in Amber with no off-street parking. You cannot easily charge a car, so there's an active disincentive to
Get electric.
get electric car. Because you can't get to the school charging point very easily, and you can't buy a docket at night because the sports centre is shut.
And plugging your car in on one of these during the day, you'll add, 30, 40, 50 miles, you won't add anything meaningful. Maybe a couple of hours.
Yeah.
You'll only add, a very short, a very small amount of charge. So unless you can leave it there for an 8-hour period, you're not going to want to park there anyway.
So we're not going to attract lots of people off the main highway.
We don't want the high speed ones, because that will attract loads of people, and they'll be angry if they can't.
The other point with the high speed ones is that we would probably have to start putting our hand in our pocket.
It's a lot more expensive, yeah.
Because we want more wire.
We wouldn't have capacity here to do that.
So,
Do we, obviously, I think it's a great idea, I think we need them, but if cars are parked overnight, do we have something ready that says you're parking at your own risk and no liability in case cars get damaged?
we're not great on signs on car parks.
I think there was
Yeah,
sign.
It will be a market at risk.
There might be something we need to put in, just if we're, people have to park at night or and they can't come back.
Well, what about?
I think go.
It's not real, to me, there's a danger that people will come and use it as a long-stay car park during the daytime.
They have to plug in.
Rather like they sneak into Waitrose at the moment.
Well, at least we'll get some revenue if they do.
Yeah. It's good, because if they're plugged in, we're making money.
Yeah.
Well, if I could just ask that, because in Peterborough they have this, and not really. You've got to, they say 4-hour stay, but if you're, for everybody else, but if you park with your electric car, you don't have to pay. So you just put a sign up saying, it's one of those things like we're doing with the long-term car park, aren't we, by the Dribble. So you just have a similar scheme, so that you just can't park here, but you charge it.
Because there's nothing stopping anyone parking for long term here at the moment. You can leave a car there.
There are just two cars that do park.
And we know in the Dribble, we've got 3 cars that are not MOT, so there. So that's a valid problem. Jerry asked a question.
Just to simplify it, putting the charges in will increase the maximum amount of power we take, not talking about energy, but at any given point, if there are 4 or 5 cars plugged in, it'll boost our consumption by quite significantly over what our current maximum consumption is. There is a charge associated with our bill that is based on how much our maximum take is. So there is a chance, but there's not a chance, it's extremely likely that we will end up with an element of our bill increasing by a few £100 a year probably. I raised, that's the question I raised, to say how many units of energy would we need to sell to people who are going to charge in order to cover the additional fixed costs of that increase. And we haven't got an answer back yet, but I think personally, my view is it would be good to know, but even if there's a slight cost to the council for providing this facility, I think it's something we should seem to be doing. I think we've signed off on, we've approved a commitment to take action on climate and to do things to improve what we do as a council and to facilitate what other people do. It's not costing anything to put these in. It shouldn't cost anything to operate them. If it does cost a little bit, then so be it, in my view. I think it's the right thing to do. I don't think it will cause problems with congestion in the car park for the simple reason I don't think there'll be very many people at all who come and want to plug in, during the daytime for long periods of time. And if they do, they can't get in, well, so be it.
That's the way it goes.
It's also the other way, if customers come in.
But that's no different where we are now. I mean, I've come in, there'll be lots of times during the day in car park, and you end up having to find somewhere else, and it's just the way it is.
But that's if people are here that are using this building, because it does get busy.
Yeah.
But it's if people are here that are just charging their car but not here. I think some of our hirers might get a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's a very small risk, but it feels we're not quite in a position where we can make a decision anyhow. I'll come back to what Joe said. Paul?
No, I was very much about what Joe said. Is there a need? Yes. In terms of, we have set up the green, we're trying to be greener in the town, we're trying to sell that message to the public. And it's another big step for the town to do it, I drive a diesel, so I can't buy diesel in town, but an electric car, I can plug it in. That's how I think we sell it.
Just quickly, have we thought about how we communicate it to people so that they even know that they are? I know word of mouth would be one way, but, if we want to use it to promote us being energy.
There's lots of apps showing location, but we can use video.
Yeah.
Well, just picking up on Emma's point, perhaps bearing in mind we're not approving this tonight because there's one or two things to sort of tie up. That gives us time to go to our regular users and explain what we're proposing to do. And if there's a sudden outcry from them, no doubt let us know, and then we'll have to factor that in. My guess is that actually there won't be any great outcry about it. And in terms of is it the right thing to do, I think we're all agree there's a no-brainer. To be able to say, as a council, we are putting this in for the benefit of the entire town. That's to be a good thing, I would say.
Thank you.
But also the point I'd make is that our next vehicle that we buy for town council will almost certainly be an electric vehicle. We'll end up, if we don't take this opportunity now to get them installed for free, we might actually end up having to pay for it to charge what we installed at that point.
Just on that basis, one of the nice things about this is they're very keen to get us on as a local group, but also they're able to have different charging structures. So if we said to people in the town, you're a nurse, you want to charge your car, if we go to work in the hospital, we can make sure that they offer this rate.
You said about the cost of putting one of them in. Have we asked about just having 4, like 2 points?
I'm sure they do 4, but I think from their point of view, their business model is that the more they can put, more people will use them, and that's good for everyone. It's good for their bottom line as well, and it's good for our bottom line. So I don't think 4 posts is double the risk of 2 posts, if that makes sense. I think it's building into the future, in effect. Because in 10, 15, 20 years' time, where are more people going to be needing these things? And they might then come and use our new cafe alarm Tuesday and Thursday. Because that's the best advantage they have, which is good for us too. So I'm going to suggest that we wait till we get an absolute answer back from them. I think they're going to say that load balancing is good, key thing. But until they say that, I think we're not going to go any further. So I think we'll put this over to the next council meeting and then we'll hopefully make a decision then, if that's all right. Talking of the green things, 246504, we put forward a report on all the solar quotes we had over the summer to the estates meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I sent a video around. If any of you haven't been up into the loft upstairs, it's a lovely space. The only problem is that the roof on this side is in very good condition, the roof on that side is in less good condition. The health seems to have deteriorated rather. 2 or 3 of the providers either wouldn't give us a quote or would not give us a quote with a guarantee due to the felt damage. I don't know whether it's been there 100 years or 5 years or getting worse, but we're getting a quote to do some patchwork or replace all the felt, but I suspect that's going to be more expensive and less expensive.
Yeah, Lisa chased that up, but it's still not in, so it's going to take a couple of weeks. But also in view of talking of the FFA meeting and talking about collecting the rainwater from the guttering. Guttering, as we know, is not fit for purpose on the building, so
it's
maybe
domestic,
if
small plastic.
once we've got scaffolding enough to do that route, if we choose to do it, maybe worth getting all that done.
So guttering and face should be many people watching. So the solar panel quotes were good, the idea of having a battery is good, the idea of maybe connecting them in at the same time as the EV charging point is good, but until we get a better view of the roof and what we can do about it, we can't really go any further. So we're sort of on hold on that at the moment. 2466 Communications Working Party to receive the latest Handle Advertiser article. Thanks to Rebecca and everyone for putting that together. Any questions, queries, thoughts therein? 226602 to receive the Communications Working Party minutes for the meeting held on the 8th of August. Yeah, I think the message is all about getting the word of mouth out to as many people as possible, particularly things like the market and so on and forth.
Sorry,
It's just
I'm a bit behind. Just had a thought the other day, I mean, this is to be very brief, but I just want to get people's initial reaction. The advertiser article is a good thing that we do. And at the moment, it's just, I'm not sure if it's on the web, presumably it goes on the web. Does it go on social media?
It also goes out in that.
It goes out on emails.
Yeah, so the other thing was, is it a good idea, do you think, to have a copy of that printed out on its own that we could put in the shops or the barbers and people that have a leaflet? Well, a leaflet version of it, because people get it to their door, but this is for people outside who come in, and so there are other people who want it. I'm a real believer in the virtual world, but I'm also a believer in the physical world. And I was just thinking that perhaps if we had a physical version, we could have a flat house that people could pick up, or we could distribute, or in various places that we decide are good places. That would be a nice way of spreading that word, because we do good things in there, and it's our main communication, one of our main communication, pushing communication.
I've raised that with Conscript.
Yeah, I know, but I just thought
It sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
as I'm losing it.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Human Resources to receive the minutes of the HR committee meeting on the 10th of September. Lots there. Thanks to Emma and Lisa for all their help with the appraisal. Anything anyone wants to raise from that? No? Any other relevant matters for report only? Let's start over here. Matt?
No.
Paul? Lisa?
It's just a sort of pick up on what's been happening on the A605, where we had Jason Smith do that with caution accidents. There's a not dissimilar problem on the Cotterstock crossroads. So if you come out from Blackpool and go across to Cotterstock, or you're coming the other way into Amundle, there have been numerous collisions. I mean, to such an extent that on every Blackpool Parish Council meeting we are reporting an accident immediately going to there. And you have noticed that they increased signage around the area. However, the increased signage doesn't appear to have done anything to stop the number of accidents, some of which have been pretty serious. So Sarah Barnwell is very much aware of this, and they're looking into options around it. And I just thought that as that impacts upon this town, it's probably worth just mentioning to you. And I think that if there are other essentially accident black spots around Elmwood, even if they're just outside the parish, it is worth drawing them not only to our attention, but making sure that Sarah Barnwell, for example, is actually on top of it. Because if they get reports from the police of the more serious accidents, they don't get reports on everything that happened. Happily or unhappily, depending on the view, there have been quite a number of serious accidents there.
Well, there was a coach in school, that's the double decker that fell over. That could have been a really serious accident.
Is it mainly before we came to Oundle, speeding?
It's both junctions actually. It's when you go, there's what I might call the Southwark Battle
Yes.
Yeah.
crossroads at one end, where there have been a number of accidents, including that one. But actually, if you go to the other end, it's probably even worse, where you're going out of, say, that road out of Blackpool and then into Cotterstock, or you're coming down from sort of following A and into Anvil.
But it's people on the stop in Blackthorn or vice
They don't
versa,
stop.
Yeah,
not
but-
giving way. For whatever reason, people don't give way there. They
Yeah.
either don't register the signs
I
or.
think they look at sat-navs and the sat-nav does not tell them that they are approaching crossroads, that they have to stop at.
And they use it as a ramp run.
And consequently, people go through there at speed, and by the time they realise what they're doing, it's often too late. I don't know what the answer is at that junction quite frankly.
I mean, is it worth asking to be highways there and, you know, suggesting ideas of putting rumble, you know, like you can have that raised tiny bottom so that if you're climbing up, it automatically you wake up. and go,
Yeah, highways don't like things that make noise, generally. It's a good place for them.
They've done the signage, but they need to do like they've done at Elmsall, which is put the lights up. That's probably it. The lights up on either side, clock stop side and back.
All the fencing.
So you're coming, as you're approaching through the little gates, the lights come up, flash up.
We have seen
They're not seeing that junction. It's not at night. They're having people through the day.
I mean, I think the last one happened about 1 o'clock.
Yeah, in the afternoon.
I mean, it may be that if we feel that it's worth mentioning, that we actually also contact them and say we're aware of these problems, because if it's two councils reporting it, maybe it's a little bit more likely that action will be taken rather than just an open parish.
Yeah, just a quick one on that. I was speaking to Deputy Cashmore, and he said that quite often people who don't know the area that follow the sat nav, it doesn't flag up to them.
Yeah, that's
junction.
Yeah,
So
they think it's a
continuation.
continuation. Yeah.
So anything we can do to support that, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jerry?
I can report that the Bouncing Club had a successful session this evening.
We need one of those bulletin boards. Bad scores, good news. Ruben?
The problems that David has fairly highlighted are problems where the doers' minds need to meet. The doers are, of course, the police, who will be aware of accidents and the potential for accidents, and NNC highways, where Sarah Barnwell in particular will do what she can and alert her seniors to what's above her pay grade, within the terms of the traffic signs manual, and what guidance the Department of Transport sends forth to local highway authorities and their own responsibilities. So lines need to meet. In between the two, of course, parish councils, who represent the people living in the villages, are pivotal to communications. So I fully support the general initiative to encourage, to bring about closer liaison with the surrounding parish councils, and also maintaining contact with Sarah Barnwell and the police.
Lovely, thank you very much indeed, Val.
I have a question.
David, just cricket based. Those of you who know Josh Hull, who's almost local, I think in testing last week, was away from last week as well. But yeah, so congratulations to him. And Admiral Town Cricket Club's T20 team is in the national finals this Saturday. So playing a team from Liverpool. So just in case anyone's watching from Liverpool, I can't say. But good luck to them, and thank you for flying the plane, Joanna. I think that's it. Thank you very much indeed.
Records,